A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review today. So, cheers. Now, this book review is kind of going out to a couple of people. And by that I mean the reason I'm doing this is because, to begin with, one of my little Plaguelandians out there asked me to review more Bentley Little books. And my good friend Mr. Ian Van Gammett saw the cover of this book and just went, oh, fuck me, that is appalling. You've got to review that one. So that's why I am today reviewing the Bentley Little novel from 2021, Gloria. Okay. Now, I will be completely honest with all of you. This was one of the first books that I almost DNF'd, did not finish. And I felt that way halfway through the second chapter of this thing. It was a fucking painful beginning, I will admit. But, first of all, I just, once I start a book, I have to finish it no matter how bad it is. And as the story progressed, I became more and more intrigued as to exactly what was going on. So I stuck with it, and I am actually pretty glad that I did. Let's get this cover out of the way first, okay? This cover was done by a company called Elder Lemon Design. After a little bit of research, Elder Lemon Design do affordable book covers for authors using stock footage, computer kind of graphic design, and a little bit of hand-drawn art. I went to their website. Some of their covers are absolutely fantastic. Some really, really good stuff. This one, however, kind of drops the ball a bit. This looks almost AI generated, although I know now that it's not. It's boring. It doesn't give you any indication of what the story is about. If I had seen this on a library bookshelf back in the day, I would have just glossed right over it. The only reason I actually picked this up was because it was a Bentley Little novel, and I'm a huge fan of Bentley Little's horror stories. With that said, is this a horror novel? I mean, the woman on the cover has the black eyes. Is this a horror novel? No, actually, I wouldn't classify it as one, although there are some horrific elements to it. I don't really know how to classify this book. I don't even know if we should be classifying books in this day and age. But this definitely wasn't what I would consider a horror novel. The blurb on the inside cover of the book gives you basically the first part of the story. And by part, I mean this book is split up into like 7 or 8 different parts, and this is just the first part of the story, in which Gloria, the main character, has recently buried her mother. Her mother was dying and was very sick in a hospital, and at the wake, there's a knock at the door, and it's Gloria's mother, but she is dressed and looks like she did in the 1980s, and Gloria has to kind of work out what the fuck is going on. That's what you get from the blurb. That is not remotely close to what this story is or what this story is about. There's a little part of it in there, but as the story progressed, I was really taken aback by how little I kind of knew of what was happening. Most books, you kind of get a really good sense from the blurb, but this one intentionally misleads the reader. And again, I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing, if that's something you like or if that's something you don't like. But yeah, this story is basically Gloria trying to work out what the fuck is going on in her life. So, would I recommend it? Probably not, unless you're a fan of Bentley Little. And I will tell you, there are much better Bentley Little books out there. In fact, I have books like The Policy by Bentley Little, The Walking by Bentley Little, The House. I've got other books in my office at work by the same author. I've read a few Bentley Little novels. He is a fantastic horror author. This one, in my opinion, fell short. I think it is one of the weaker Bentley Little novels that I've read. That is not to say that it was bad, because it wasn't. The story itself was actually quite compelling when you get a little further into it. It's just that, as a Bentley Little fan, I kind of felt a little cheated. But that's just my opinion. It might not be the opinion of other people out there. Now, if you don't want to know what happens in Gloria, and while I'm going to try and give a spoiler-filled review, it's practically impossible with this book. Turn off now, go watch something else. They're all fucking awesome videos on the Playgrounds Media channel. But if you want to know what the fuck is going on in Gloria, then stick around for the next episode of...
Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. People.
Okay, gonna need a drink to wrap my head around this one. As I said in the intro, the book starts at the wake of Gloria's mother. Gloria is married to Benjamin. She has 2 children, Bradley and Lucas. At the wake, Gloria's mother reappears, Nora, dressed in this gaudy 1980s like neon fashion look. And while Gloria realizes who she is, Benjamin doesn't, and her 2 children don't. But Nora kind of ingratiates herself into their life. She starts babysitting and hanging with the kids and whatnot. And Gloria's a little suspicious, but it's easier for the family because her mother can look after the kids while she's at work, and Benjamin's at work, and so on. Benjamin has been asked, he's a computer programmer, and he's been asked to go to this conference. It's the first time that he has been away from Gloria and the boys, but he has to go. So he flies to this conference, and they have the conference. He talks to Gloria on the phone all the time, and Gloria is going to meet him at the airport. He misses his flight on the Sunday because of the conference, and then he's going to get a later flight, and he tells her, don't worry, I'm going to get a ride back with 2 colleagues. When he doesn't call, Gloria starts to get nervous, and it turns out that the plane actually crashed and Benjamin has been killed. Gloria is kind of trying to come to terms with this. She has met an old friend from high school that she has lunch with occasionally. And this friend from high school tells her that he owns this pool company and blah, blah, blah. And then they get to talking. And for some reason, Gloria decides to look him up, knowing full well that her mother is there looking after the boys and is back from the dead. She looks up this old friend, and it turns out that he, in fact, died 5 years earlier in a car accident. And when she confronts him, he's all kind of nonchalant about it. No, that never happened, blah, blah, blah. And Gloria starts to get really suspicious. Like, 2 people she knows have come back from the dead. What the fuck is going on? And so she decides to take the boys and go on an impromptu vacation, where she ends up in this town called Hicksville. In Hicksville, there is restaurants and diners. It's a small little American town, but she's drawn to this shed. And as she is kind of going there, this man approaches her and says, "Are you Gloria James?" And Gloria's kind of freaking the fuck out about this now, because how the fuck could this guy know who she was? But she goes with this guy to this shed. Other people appear around her. All these men appear around her. And she tells the kids to stay there, and she goes into the shed. But when she turns around, the kids are gone. And then that is the end of part 1. And when part 2 starts, it's basically Gloria has a new life, new family, all of this kind of stuff. And this keeps happening. And in every one of these iterations, she meets Benjamin. They are married, and Benjamin dies in some way, shape, or form. In one of them, in one of these scenarios, she's married to this guy called Myron, and they're at the beach. They have a son and a daughter. And Myron is supposed to be looking after the son as he's playing in the ocean, but Myron turns his back, and the son is swept away and drowns. And so Gloria and Myron separate, and 5 years later, there's a knock at the door, and it's her dead son, but he's aged 20 years. So he's now 25. He was 5 when he died. And she doesn't know what's happening. She's kind of confused. She takes the son back to see his father and sister. Myron and Jeannie is the sister. And this son ends up murdering both of them horrifically and dies in his sleep. And then there's another iteration where it's her great-grandmother comes back. And her great-grandmother doesn't like Benjamin, who she's met and married in this world. And the great-grandmother says that Benjamin has to die. And then she keeps kind of heading back to Hicksville, back to this shed. And eventually, after all of these kind of scenarios, she starts piecing together, with the help of the people from the shed, mind you. And I am glossing over a ton of these scenarios where she meets Benjamin, Benjamin dies. She meets Benjamin, Benjamin dies. It's just a constant cycle. So she goes back to this shed in Hicksville constantly, and the men keep trying to talk to her and let her know what's going on. Inside the shed is a shrine to her, and she has no fucking idea why. There's pictures of her and all of this kind of shit. And in one scenario, she realizes she has to keep Benjamin alive. That's the main key. Benjamin, in fact, was her husband who died of cancer. And Gloria has this ability to go to other multiverses or something and bring back people who other people have lost. So these men who are worshipping her, she has helped them by finding loved ones that they have lost and bringing them back to them from this other kind of multiverse or dimension. That is kind of what she's been doing. And now she's trying to do it for herself. There's always some indication that she has to go to Hicksville. In one iteration, it's a picture on the wall, and she keeps seeing the figures in this picture kind of moving around and stuff. Very reminiscent of Roald Dahl's The Witches, where there was that one picture. The grandmother is telling her grandson about the little girl that appeared in the picture and will kind of keep moving around, things like that. She actually tells Benjamin what is going on, and Benjamin at first doesn't believe her, but then a whole lot of things happen that people are trying to kill him. He gets attacked by a construction worker and all of this kind of stuff. And in this kind of reality, Gloria realizes, and things start happening like she won't have kids. Her and Benjamin will go to bed, and when she wakes up, she's got kids. And Gloria realizes something's kind of working against her. In actual fact, it's her mother who is working against her getting together with Benjamin, because it's never fucking explained why. Or maybe it is. I don't fucking know. It's way too confusing. So she is in this kind of reality. She's trying to keep Benjamin safe. She has to stay back from work. Benjamin picks up the kids, and when she gets home, the kids have killed Benjamin. They've basically, her son has beat Benjamin to death in a closet. So she ends up tracking down her mother and basically killing her in order to stop this cycle. And they fight, and Gloria gets the upper hand and ends up killing her mother and going back to the shed in Hicksville. And when she leaves the shed, Benjamin is waiting there for her, but he kind of looks a little confused, and she's like, Benjamin? He's like, Gloria. And that's the end of the novel. So Gloria obviously does get her happily ever after. Now, this is a hard one for me to review. I could go through every single kind of part of this book, but it's pretty much the same with little inconsistencies here and there. Gloria meets Benjamin, Benjamin dies. Gloria meets Benjamin, Benjamin dies. Gloria doesn't have kids, Gloria has kids. Gloria's, relatives come back and this kind of thing. And it's a whole thing. And her mother's best friend from across the street, Maxine, ends up being the one that's kind of the mastermind of this, her actual mother. And at one point, it's Gloria's father that comes back, and her brother can see it, but then she didn't have a brother, and all this kind of weird stuff is going on. Wouldn't call it a horror. I would recommend other Bentley Little books over this one. Did I enjoy it? Ultimately, yeah, I did. I actually thought it was a pretty solid story. If they made this into like a Netflix series, I think each part could be one episode of a one season run, or a limited series or something like that. It's an intriguing story. It's not an overly original one. This kind of thing has been done before, like Groundhog Day. But I did enjoy it. I didn't appreciate the bait and switch with the cover and the blurb. I thought that was a bit fucking weak. But again, that's just me. All in all, it was a fun read. I'm glad I stuck with it. I really am glad I did not kind of put this one aside and DNF it, because the payoff was actually pretty cool, and I do enjoy Bentley Little's writing style. I think as far as horror authors go, he has a very unique voice. He's not overly wordy. He kind of gets to the point, which is really great. But he has this way of, at the end of every chapter, making you want to read the next one straight away. There were many nights where I would finish a chapter and know that I had to go to bed. I've got work tomorrow. I've got to start work at 11 o'clock. I've got to start work at 9. Fuck it, I'll just read one more. There were times on the train reading this where I almost missed my station. I was so engrossed in the story that I didn't realize my stop had come up, or was the next stop on the train. It's a good book. Don't get me wrong. But he has written better. And that's really saying something. I'm a huge fan of Bentley Little, and always will be ever since I discovered him a few years ago, which is a shame, because I could have been reading Bentley Little for a fuck ton longer than I have been. And that sucks to me, because look at all this shit I've got to read and review for you little Plaguelandians out there. But you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. To all you new Plaguelandians, we have hit over 600 subscribers. So to all you new Plaguelandians, cheers. You're fucking awesome. But I do want you to do me a favor. Tell all your friends, like, subscribe, leave a comment. And until next time, stay safe. Have a fantastic, fantastic rest of your day. But most important of all, as I always say, read a fucking book, people.